Intel cuts 25,000 jobs. No breakdown yet, but all signs point to engineers taking the biggest hit. So today we tackle two things. First, what's happening, what's going on in semiconductors? And second, is semiconductor engineering still a good profession? Welcome to AI Survival Guide. Every Friday in just 8 minutes you get one headline, one chart and one takeaway. No hype, no doom. I'm Scripter, AI expert, economist and former Forbes columnist. And our goal here is to keep your career AI relevant. Intel plans to finish this year with 75,000 employees, which is roughly 25,000 fewer roles. Engineers are in the blessed zone. Module development, process integration, and also equipment teams are among those who got cut. Fewer than 8% of titles even had the word manager. Plain English? Managers are cutting engineers. But if Washington so desperately wants AI chips made in America, why cut the people who actually make them? Something doesn't really add up here, right? But the question that matters most for us in this situation is, does this all mean that semiconductor engineers are suddenly no longer needed? These are global sales of wafer fab equipment, the tools that go into fabs, lithography machines and so on. This is the equipment semiconductor engineers maintain and operate. And the pipeline is strong, which means that once this equipment is online, somebody will have to operate it, somebody will have to maintain it. And the main driver here is AI. Because almost everything around AI chips, AI memory, it's all built on this equipment. So it is not hype, it is not another dot-com bubble. Because it's all tied to real value created by AI. Starting from generative systems and all the way to agentic workflows. We are entering the AI industrial revolution. And one of the main bottlenecks? AI chips. And fabs that produce those chips. And the engineers that keep those fabs running. So if everything looks this good, why is Intel laying off engineers? And this is where the story gets interesting. I will start with the positives. And the most important one is demand. Because the future demand for engineers who can run the semiconductor equipment is virtually certain. And as the AI race intensifies, more fabs get built. And as we have seen, those fabs need highly qualified people to operate. The second positive is automation. Because these jobs, they're not easily AIable. As a matter of fact, they are likely to be among the last to be automated. Why? Because they are mission critical. And we're talking about running machines that can easily cost up to $250 million each. So uptime and yield, that's what matters here, not shaving headcount. And on top of that, labor is a small fraction, small slice of the total cost here. Which is why AI is not going to replace semiconductor engineers. And the third positive is, the US angle, the American angle. Because with all this China decoupling, tariff wars, and AI race heating up, if the US wants not to lose this competition, this war, we're definitely going to see a semiconductor build out. Yet there is an acute shortage of semiconductor engineers in the US. For too long, the American educational system was focused on training law and finance professionals, not fabs and lithography engineers. The tide is turning, there is no doubt about it. We are entering a new golden age of American engineering, and especially of semiconductor engineering. And I think it is kind of cool to know that the future of your country, and in this case, the future of the entire Western civilization, depends on what you do. And this is where you're probably saying like, hey, hold on, what about Intel? Well, this was the positive side. And now, the negatives. And the first negative is, well, Intel itself. Because what was once one of the most innovative and leading companies in the world, now is nowhere near, nowhere close to the leading edge. Somehow Intel has completely missed the AI revolution. That first wave of AI hardware boom. Well, there are many theories about what went wrong in Intel. And my personal take is, well, pretty much the same as last year, as we discussed in this video. So my personal opinion is that the main problem of Intel is bureaucracy-heavy management. Because look at the current winners in AI. These are companies where original founders still exert real control over product and strategy. And Intel, for a very long time, was run by management with very little skin in the game. And in one, probably the most famous case, Intel was run by an accountant. Imagine that. And here's the next negative takeaway. It is increasingly clear that whichever way the AI race and AI chip manufacturing evolve, the US is not going to be at the very frontier. Why? Well, because this game is dominated by something that is very difficult to replicate, by a flywheel of know-how, by yield learning, and by extremely complex supplier ecosystem. The easiest way to think of it is if it is some sort of an icebreaker cutting through a very thick layer of ice. So there is one ship, one icebreaker at the front, and everybody else follow behind. They just go along that channel that the icebreaker makes. And today, the US is not that icebreaker. Almost all advanced chip manufacturing is actually in Taiwan. And China is also working very hard to close this gap. And probably in the next 5 to 10 years, it actually will achieve that. Does this mean no advanced chip manufacturing in the US? Well, no, not at all. For example, TSMC's new fab in Arizona, Fab 21, is already manufacturing 4nm chips, wafers. And new fab by Intel, also in Arizona, next door, literally, is about to come online later this year. But these won't be the tip of the spear. They will be at least 1 or 2 generations behind. The Taiwanese government also signaled the N-1 approach, which basically means that all technologies transferred abroad, including to the US, they all have to be at least 1 generation behind the latest. And what does it mean for engineers? Well, if you want to be top-notch at the frontier, you need to go where the frontier is. In this case, Taiwan, and increasingly China. And one more great challenge and probably uncomfortable truth for most of us living on the western side of the AI race. In the last decade, in semiconductor engineering, Mandarin, Chinese Mandarin has become the main working language. Pretty much all day-to-day communications are done in Chinese. Not being fluent in Chinese is a real disadvantage in the advanced chip manufacturing, chip engineering roles now. Speaking as someone who actually has been learning Chinese for about 2 decades now and still not fluent, I can confirm that this is a real challenge. And another important consideration is working culture. Because semiconductor manufacturing, and especially in Taiwan, has got a reputation of some sort of a military operation. The Western employees are usually not used to it. You can see echoes of this on Glassdoor website, for example, where American employees working on TSMC's fabs in Arizona and Washington, when they complain about TSMC militaristic culture. TSMC founder explained it with one very simple example. If a machine breaks at 1 a.m. in the middle of the night in the US, it will be fixed by the morning. But if the machine breaks at 1 a.m. in Taiwan, it will be fixed by 2 a.m. And the wife of that engineer in Taiwan, she wouldn't even think about asking her husband about why he had to leave in the middle of the night. And before we sum up, one last point, and probably the most important point. As you may remember, in this previous video, we actually explained how this AI race is actually ending consumerism, and how important it is to be on the right side of this great divide, to be with AI race, not with consumerism. And by being a semiconductor engineer, you actually firmly on the right side, you're firmly on the AI race side. So here's the bottom line. If making money or securing weekends is what is the most important for you, then this profession is probably not right. But if you're a natural-born engineer who gets excited about running some of the world's most complex machines, then that's the right place. And if on top of this you're actually either already fluent in Chinese or ready to learn Mandarin, well then sky is the limit. And you get a chance to find yourself maybe 5 or 10 years from now at the AI frontier. Great news. Remember in that video about electrical engineering, I said that if we get enough demand for a special deep dive into this profession, if we get more than 100 comments asking for a deep dive, I'm gonna make it. So we get well over 100 comments now. I'm starting working on that video. It's gonna take about a few months, but it's gonna be super exciting. Stay tuned. So does it feel like semiconductor engineering also needs that special dive, special guide into it? It does feel so, right? Because it's first extremely important topic for AI and overall for employment as well, because it's huge. There are so many opportunities there. It's pretty clear already. At the same time, it is very complex and many things are changing in it. And the way how it was just a few years ago, probably no longer the case. Well, certainly no longer the case. So here's what we're going to do. Once we get 1,000 comments asking for a survival guide into semiconductor engineering, I'm going to take that deep dive. I'm going to make that survival guide for you. Go to comments and just say, hey, I need a survival guide in semiconductor engineering. And if you need it really fast, and if you cannot wait, just send it to your friends and tell them what to do. And if you need more on this, I have two videos for you. Here, in the first one, we talk about Intel and what actually happened to Intel. Because this is quite a fascinating story, and not that many people are actually aware of how Intel got to where it is now. And the second video right here is about AI chip war between China and the West. Highly recommend, one of my favorite.